Welcome back to the Cougar Chronicle.
We are the Cougar Chronicle.
We are the Cougar Chronicle. And it's like old home day. I'm so happy with our first segment today.
Again, I wish we could have a show running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not touch all the people that we have in our district that are doing great things.
Touch the lives of our students.
So excited to introduce. So Tara Evans, Rob Henry, both are science teachers in our 7th grade program. I would like to point out, if you notice, they both have the seal pin.
You have bling.
So I know one of these things is not like the other. I noticed one, but it doesn't. But anyway, so when I first got here, one of the things was, how do we improve our brand and how do we recognize great things that are taking place? So you have the original K-Pen.
That's right.
That we have that, and then we have the seal of the district. And so one of the things that we've done is Rob and Tara are the first teacher recipients of the pen, and which they're here, which is one of the many reasons why they're here, because there's two people in the community, those that have the Kearsarge pen
and those that
don't want a Kearsarge pen.
So I have to move over then.
So no, we're there. But anyway, so the goal was when we have great things that are taking place within our district, how do we recognize and honor those things and do that? Military does that with the challenge coins that are especially made.
Yes.
And so within the pin, it was kind of that same thing. And a lot of it is the idea of branding. I try not to go anywhere where I'm not wearing something Kearsarge based. And so these are just a great opportunity to do that. So the reason they got the pins, because that's really why we're here, right? I mean, one, it's cool to be able to say we're part of the club, but it really is.
We're honored to be part of it.
I'm so glad to have them. So the district had moved a few years ago to Competency Based Education.
Right.
What you might, as we get into the Edu Speak and the acronym CBE.
Okay, CBE.
And as we are really in our first go round pre-K-12 as a district of talking about grading and competency-based education for all of our kids. The goal is try to demystify some of that, because this really is kind of a shift in education. It's an evolution.
And John, I'm going to let you take the lead on this, because really in the past we went from A, B, C, right, D and F, right, then to a rubric of 1, 2, 3, right? Yep. And now we're going to competency-based.
It's competency-based, which is now still a 4-point rubric.
Okay.
And there's some nuances with that, but I really wanted to get the experts to talk about what their take is. And,
Thank you.
And the reason they're here is because the biggest piece is how do you explain it well? Okay. And Tara and Rob created a rubric that they use at the middle school that I loved. It would really, I'd stopped a meeting that I was with Mr. Patterson to go talk to them, because I had to get to them at that point. And it was awesome. And I pulled Tara out of she was in another meeting, and we're like, do we grab her? I need to borrow her for a second.
You pulled rank on that one, yes.
Well, I hate to do that, but it never looks good when the superintendent walks into a meeting going, I need that teacher. Can I borrow her? It's like, great. And then you're brought to the background going, what do we have? But anyway, but they built a rubric that got used. And so what I'd like to do is, if you would, talk a little bit about what is competency-based education, why is it important, and how are you guys using those things in your classroom to where the layperson, the non-educator.
So my understanding of competency-based education is that it is a response to the community, that over the years, community leaders, especially employers, have been asked, what are you looking for in a high school graduate? And above all, employers are looking for what we often call transferable skills. So facts and knowledge are important, but in any job, you're going to have a little bit of retraining. But employers are looking for some skills that transfer no matter what you're doing. Employees who are able to problem solve, employees who are able to communicate well, employees who are able to demonstrate leadership skills. And that idea was then brought to the educational system. How can we as public educators give the public what they're looking for in their graduates?
So then with the competencies within themselves, when we look at competencies, there really are these great big umbrellas. Like, what are the really big pictures of we want our students to know? And then under those, we have what we call learning targets, which are the steps to get us to those competencies. And the beauty of our competencies is that we're able to work them within weave them throughout our curriculums in general. So instead of just tying everything to one particular topic, we can weave it through, which helps give a really broad picture. So for us as science teachers, we truly work with the NGSS. They're the Next Generation Science Standards, which tie in beautifully.
And what Next Generation did was they looked at everything that scientists need to be able to do. And they came up with 3 different dimensions. One are called science and engineering practices, one are called disciplinary core ideas, and another are called cross-cutting concepts. What NGSS did was they took the facts and the knowledge that most people think of as being central to education and maintained their importance, but raised to the same level of importance these practices and concepts. Briefly, the practices are things that every scientist needs to be able to do no matter what their field. All scientists need to be able to ask questions. All scientists need to be able to obtain, evaluate, and communicate information. All scientists need to perform computational and mathematical thinking. And the concepts are ways of viewing the world that all scientists need to be able to do, no matter what their field. All scientists need to be able to approach science from the point of view of matter and energy, or recognizing patterns, or cause and effect. And I think you can see how that ties in really well with these overarching ideas that Tara was talking about.
And you know, Tara, what I'm hearing is that it's not just within the discipline of science, but then that can weave into whether it's a communication piece or conceptual
Very
understanding,
so.
into math, into, you know, language arts, into...
Very much so. Many of our competencies through those cross-cutting concepts of the NGSS, as Rob was saying, do tie directly, like scale, proportion, quantity. So we're tying the math into that as well. Through our science and engineering practices, like communication, as he said, is so much a part of that. So we tie the communication, the ELA, the writing, the reading into what we do as well.
Doesn't it?
Which is, and again, it's these great skills
Yeah.
that are not just limited. So there's more to science than just an experiment.
Right.
There's the communication pieces. And the thing about that is that analytical thinking and that real high order thing applies to everything that these kids can do, regardless of what subject matter it is.
And Rob, it started, sounds like, by asking the business community or the world at large, what do you want from a high school graduate? And so isn't that how it really, it's almost, you know, thinking of it from, it trickled down really, didn't it?
That's my
That's right.
understanding, is that it was a response to the
Makes
community.
sense.
Yeah. One of the things I think when we talk about the idea of a rubric, you know, we've lived in this 100-point scale. People know what an A is. They know what a 97 means. As we look at this competency piece, and grade cards are coming out, and parents are looking at some of these things, or have at this point by the time the show hits, what's the continuum? What's the difference between a 1 and a 4? And, which is, I know, the existential question of
Right.
why am I here kind of thing. But if there's a base level to try to describe it to a parent, how do they know the difference? Like, what does that mean? If a kid gets a 1 or a 4, where are we at?
Right. So we'll start, unfortunately, like the 1.
Mm-hmm.
The 1, when we see a 1, those are students who, like with that particular competency in that particular area, they still really need a lot of our teacher support. They need a lot of guidance. We're still really working with them to help them gain competency in that area. When you see a 2, that means that kiddo, they're working on it. That student is making gains. They are getting there. They are showing that, yeah, they still need support, but they're getting to that point where they are competent. They're almost where we need them or would like them to be. A 3, that's like, you've nailed it. You are there, you've got this, you are doing exactly what you need to do, like you are doing anything we ask of you within this particular competency, like you've got it. And the 4 is where we all look at each other and go, wow, where did that come from?
Okay,
Like,
okay.
there are times that our students develop ideas like ways to solve problems or come up with questions or ways to help other students. And we just look at each other and go, huh.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's the 4.
That's a 4.
The light bulb for the teacher
yes,
going off
yes,
as opposed
yes,
to the
exactly.
student.
That's where we're like tying it into something new, or where they're showing how they can take this concept and apply it to something completely different, that we have new situation we've never asked them, we've never showed them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we've got this. Like,
So
that's
Tara,
our
are you also happy with that 3?
We are, yes.
Okay.
Yes, no,
Okay.
we are happy with a 3. A 3, as I said, that's the.
Where they need to be.
That's the where you need to be.
Gotcha.
You are doing what you need to do, in our case, as a 7th grader, or if you see a 3 as a 6th grader, or an 8th grader in the high school. But a 3 is great. A 3 is yes. You are there. You have done it. You have showed us you are competent in this particular area. Now, don't take us wrong. We are going to mix it up later, and we're going to pull that competency out somewhere else in our curriculum again, and you're going to have to show us in a different situation that you've got this. And you know what? You might go back to a 2 for a little while.
Gotcha.
And that's okay.
Oh, so it's
It's a continuum.
it's like
okay.
yeah.
So it's not a
Because you-
standardized test of one point in time. So
Right.
we have the old test, how well did you do on that high school
Right,
exam
exactly.
on May 11th? It is over time. And so think about that. Pull that into a piece where we've eliminated extra credit. It's student demonstrating learning. So what would you rather have, a pilot that passed a class on landing because they made extra credit, or because they demonstrated competency
ability to do
in
so.
landing? Does that mean that every landing is smooth? No. But it means that they are competent and have the ability and the skill set to perform that task over a long period of time.
That really helps with understanding, doesn't it? Yeah, making it a practical.
Just and amazing. And these guys have really distilled it down to a pretty simple level. And it's obviously more complex than that as we go through. But the goal is to try to demystify. Because for some of our parents, this is a new way of thinking.
Right, it is. It
Because
really
I know
is, yeah.
in an old school mentality, I know
Sure.
what an 87 means. I know
Right.
what a B+ means. I know I want an A+. But the conversation that we get to have now is before is, what is an A+? When we're talking about a 3, when a parent, when they're calling home with a parent, or they look at a report card and they're talking to their child,
Right.
the kids are being given the opportunity to articulate their own learning, which makes that learning deeper, and they hang on to it longer.
That
All
makes
the
sense.
research shows
It
that.
really makes sense, doesn't it? And so you were really both instrumental in developing that 4-point rubric, it sounds like. I mean, in making,
Well,
yeah.
they were part of the process, but what they did is they created examples and
Gotcha.
exemplars that we then, as we teach these skills to other teachers, as we have conversations of professional development with our community, they created a tool that just made it make sense. And
But
that
that's
was what
we
was
need.
impressive.
That's what's needed. Okay, we're getting the signals to wrap up in a moment. But when our guests walked in, you said, where are the
Well, it just so
awards?
happens, not only do we have great teachers, but we have award-winning teachers as
Da-da-da-da.
well.
That's
Award-winning teachers.
wonderful.
I'm going to give you the chance to embarrass
Yes,
them.
there we go. Exactly.
Because I know he's going to try to retaliate. But you get first. You get opening salvo.
Now, this fall, just last month, Rob was awarded with the New Hampshire Science Teacher Association Novice Teacher of the Year, as he is within his first 5 years
Yay!
of
Oh,
teaching.
congratulations.
So he
And
was
he's one of
awarded
ours. And he's
with
one of
that.
ours.
And he is one of ours. And we are
Oh,
so
Rob.
lucky to have
That
him.
is-
He is
well,
a really
Rob,
great asset to our
Congratulations. And you're
science
working with
team.
one of the best.
He's-
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, Tara is amazing.
She is amazing. It,
So, you truly are.
I think it speaks really well to how well we work as a grade level team, as a middle school science department, as a middle school faculty, the teachers, the paraprofessionals,
Absolutely.
the administrators, that my colleagues could take someone who had essentially minimal experience teaching at the middle school level and bring him to a point where he could be recognized at a state level. Really speaks well to the community that we have. I'm so fortunate
that's
to go
wonderful.
to work.
Really
Great team.
great.
Yeah, no,
work.
I can see that. You know, when this show wins awards, I'll be just, standing in front of you like this.
It's all because of Laura. It's all because of Laura. I'm good with that. We have great products. We have great people. And again,
Congratulations.
it's
Really,
Thank you.
they're
it's wonderful.
I'm so excited for the things. And just not to
For our
say
students,
that it was
too.
foreshadowing something, but I'm 100% sure that the night that Rob accepted his award, he was wearing his Kearsarge pin.
I was.
Because that was the point. I went into the office next door to Mr. Bissett, and I went, zoomed it in, and I went, look, he goes, what's he's holding? Don't mind that. He's wearing the pin. But not only are they award winning, you guys are just great people.
Right.
And people that
Who
we
care
would
deeply.
want to be around other people's kids. And so
We do.
thank you so much for
do.
everything
Yeah,
you do.
thank
you.
I appreciate
No,
you
we
So
taking the
glad to
lead
see you
and
and-
coming up
Appreciate
here.
the invite.
There's a chance you'll be back at some point in the near future.
Oh, we'd love that.
And we'll go from
Please,
there.
that would be.
But we'll give you a little more lead
Whatever you
time.
need.
Thank you, thank you.
need.
Well,
Thanks so much.
stay with us. Coming up on Cougar Chronicle, we're going to be going from the middle school to the high school.
So the high school, now we'll be
Yeah.
talking extended learning opportunities.
Can't wait.
And how do those transferable skills meet the next generation as we move up the ladder?
We have a lot of good stuff going on this show, John.
We've
Yeah.
got a lot of good stuff happening within the district, Laura, and it happens every day.
Yeah,
And
it
isn't
really
it awesome
does.
that we
Yeah,
get to
it
document
really is. It's such a joy. Yeah. So stay with us and you can find out about some of these joys coming up.